Hey everybody, another Sean's random video, and this time it's not the vertical video. I'm actually taking a little bit of pride. I just hung some LED strips a couple of days ago. That's what you're seeing in the background there. I wanted to talk about, mainly with parents, but maybe some to the regressors, about age regression with disabilities. And this is something I hear a lot, all the time. I will see, my child wants a pacifier. My child plays with stuffed animals. My child does this. My child does that. And my child needs to grow up. And here's kind of my number one comment that I have to say about that when I hear that. Okay, so you come home every night and you put on your pajamas and you turn on your show and you sit down and you watch TV. New phone, trying to figure it out. And why do you do that? And 90% of the time when I send that response, they will always say, well, because I want to be comfortable. So let me kind of explain how age regression works. There's two types of age regression. There's voluntary age regression, and then there's involuntary age regression. Yes, by the way, I'm wearing a Little's Laboratory onesie. These things are amazing. Okay, so involuntary age regression, I have both. I have voluntary and involuntary age regressions. Involuntary age regressions is something that's out of your son or daughter's control. Or if you're the regressor, it's out of your control. Most of the time, involuntary age regressions happen to me after I've had a meltdown, a shutdown, or a very big emotional event. In the last video you saw, I was talking about my divorce. I'm still dealing with very strong emotional responses from that. And while not so much involuntary age regressions anymore, at first I was dealing with a lot of involuntary age regressions. In fact, we were sitting at lunch at work one day, and I had all the thoughts in my head, and we were at a place that had some loud music and that, and I couldn't really get into the conversations, and I just went nonverbal. And that is actually one of my involuntary age regressions. That's also something with my autism, but I'll look at it as well as part of my involuntary age regressions. I was still functional. I was able to eat, but I just couldn't talk. And when I did talk, my words were very little. I didn't go to the full-on baby talk. I just went, like, instead of mustering up the big words that I would normally use at work, my communication was very small. Now, involuntarily, I have gone as far age regression involuntarily as completely non-functional. Like, I would freeze, or I couldn't move, I couldn't walk, I couldn't talk, I couldn't feed myself. Involuntarily age regressed, in the worst situation would be at work. And I've only been there a couple of times my whole career. Now, involuntarily, if you're a parent, you should understand that, hey, my child is going to have these issues. Most of the time we see this in autism, ADHD, any kind of neurological disorder, we see that. Let's talk a little bit about voluntary age regression. Okay, so my child gets home from school, or they come home from work, if you have an older child like myself, and they go to their room and they immediately begin to play with their stuffed animals and suck on a pacifier and drink from a sippy cup. And that's when I always see, well, my child just needs to grow up and give up the stuffed animals, the sippy cups, and the pacifier. You got one thing to say to you, parent? Well, I have multiple things to say to you, parents, but here's one thing I have to say. Okay, let's break that down. Let's break down those comments. So, and typically I respond to those emails saying, okay, so you come home, you get in your pajamas, you sit down, you watch your TV show. What's different? And then usually sometimes I get back, well, they just need to grow up. It's like, no. Stop. Your autistic son or daughter comes home and they want to be comfortable. Their idea of comfortable is going to their room, getting in their soft, comfortable, kitty-like clothing sometimes, and playing with their stuffed animals. They have their pacifier, and they might watch, My Little Pony or Octonauts or Gabby's Dollhouse. Heck, I saw one age regressor who watched Cocomelon. Okay? Why do they do these things? Well, to them, it's a more simple form of life. Okay? So when I come home and I actually go into age regression, I do it mainly for comfort, but I also do it because it's a simpler way. So, you come home, you might want to watch The Bachelor or The Bachelorette or NCIS or The View. I come home, I want to be comfortable. I don't want to work to the TV show. I don't want to start watching a show and trying to figure out where it goes. I want to watch something simple. And the reason why, and as part of my regression, maybe my relaxation is playing with my stuffed kitty cat here. Maybe my regression is a sippy cup. By the way, I kind of don't recommend these. Maybe my regression is playing with toys. Whatever it is, understand, parents, that is your son or daughter wanting to be comfortable. Maybe they sleep with a stuffed animal. Okay, so I sleep with stuffed animals all the way around me because I need that sense of security. Now, when I was married, I didn't have as many of them around me because I had another human in the bed that I could hold. Okay, so if your son or daughter is unmarried, living at home, they're just looking for that sense of security. So maybe they want that stuffed animal that they're holding. This could be your child's security, and you're saying they need to grow up. It would be like, okay, I tell you, no, you can't have a gun in your house, but you need that sense of security. Okay, and I'm using that analogy because I am a gun owner, multiple gun owner. So I'm saying you can't have security. Well, your child's sense of security might be their stuffed animal. And when they hold it, they feel secure. And you're telling them, no, that's unacceptable. And society even says that's unacceptable. And that's something I'm like, break the stigma around age regression. I'm going to do some tips and tricks eventually for those of you that are... that do go into age regression, both voluntarily and involuntarily. I'm going to do some tips or tricks to be a little regressed at work without showing that you are regressed. But anyways, back to the parent situation. Hey, how do I look at it? Okay, well, has your child went to work or school? Have they done a good job? Have they gotten good reports? Have they come home? Have they eaten their dinner, taken their bath? Okay, well then let them regress. Let them be comfortable. Let them be happy. And they find happiness in that regressed space that you're saying they can't have. And to that I say, stop. Just stop. Accept them. And, being a Christian, I get this comment a lot. It's like, well, the Bible says to put away our childish thing. Okay, let me retort one back at you. Is your son or daughter living like a child constantly? Like, is this the only thing they do? The only thing they do is play with their stuffed animals, and they live like a baby? No. They go to work, they make living, they come home, or they go to school, and school's tough on autistic people, I'm just saying. The world isn't built for us. We just want to come home and go to simple times. That's not not putting away our childish thing. Are they saying goo goo gaga and wetting and messing their diapers and you have to feed them? 90% of the time the answer is no to that. Now, there are some regressors that need that. And, very, very rarely do I need that in my involuntary age regress space. But under my voluntary age regress, I'm able to feed myself. I'm able to make my own sippy cups. I'm able to change my own clothes. I just want the simpler times of holding my stuffed animal and watching a cartoon. And there's nothing wrong with any of that. And it's not that, oh, I didn't put away my childish thing. Okay, stop using that. That's not what the Bible refers to. And if you want me to break that down, I will in another video. But ultimately, just, let your child live the way. Are they being destructive? Are they this? Are they that? No. Okay, let them regress. Oh, I might get embarrassed if I carry a stuffed animal around in public. Get over yourself. One of the biggest things I hate is the stigma around adult pacifiers, because I would just carry this around with me all the time, just saying. But there's too much stigma around it. Okay. One more is, if you adopted maybe if you adopted an autistic son or daughter and they're regressed a lot, what gives? Okay, well, maybe they're trying to relive childhood that's more pure and more innocent. Okay, maybe your son or daughter, before you adopted them, was raped at a young age. Okay, so they're just looking for security and innocence that they didn't get to have when they were a child, and you're saying, no, grow up. Stop it. Just stop it. You can tell that I'm really passionate about this. What's so wrong with cute little sensory toys? By the way, I will do a review. Okay, so just accept it. I know it's hard for you as a parent because maybe you didn't get that luxury. But if we tell, our autistic sons and daughters, or our otherwise neurologically undeveloped, disabled, whatever you want to call us, there's a million terms out there. I'm too tired to try to find them all. Neurodivergent is what I'm going to use from now on. I haven't made an autism video in forever, so you're just going to have to forgive me because I'm a little shaky at it right now. So anyways, I just want to come on and talk about the basics. Just stop pulling regression from your son or daughter. And don't get mad at them if they involuntarily regress. Okay? I can't control my involuntary regressions. If I could, I wouldn't even have them. If I could just only voluntarily regress, I would voluntarily regress only. But unfortunately, I don't get that luxury. I do deal with involuntary regressions. Now, I've got combat skills to kind of maybe pull myself out of it. The lunch incident where I was regressed, I ended up being regressed the rest of the day. My talk stayed real small. I was able to walk. I was able to do this. But I would find times of the day and I would go find a space of my own where I could just hang out for a little bit and pull myself back together. I like the job that I have because I get that space. Sometimes I can say, hey, I need to go to the other office, or, we only have one office and we also have our shop. I might go out to the shop by myself for 30 minutes and just chill and regain myself. Figure out, most employers will support your son or daughter. If you're getting complaints, oh, they're just act like a child all of a sudden. Maybe explain to them, look, my son or daughter has involuntary age regressions, and instead of trying to force them in or out, maybe, because if you're sitting there and let's say I'm involuntarily regressed and my parents are just hammering at me, and this has happened before. They're just hammering. Oh, use your words. Oh, do this. Oh, do that. Blah, blah, blah. Stop being a child. Da, da, da. All you're doing is you're causing your son or daughter, in my case more especially, to regress even further. Rather than saying, hey son, how can I help you? Or like if I have a meltdown and I just go completely nonverbal afterwards, if your son or daughter has a phone or tablet and they're typing to you, don't be like, use your words, just use your words. Look at the phone, look at the tablet, respond to them. Most of the time when I'm nonverbal, I will respond. Like if you just talk at me, I'll respond, but it'll be on my phone. It's valid communication. And so many people, one time I went that bad nonverbal, this was before I even turned 18, and I had a notepad and I wrote something out. My father just yells at me, "Use your words. Stop acting like this. There are people out there that can't talk." And it's like, if only you knew. If only you knew. Oh, at that moment, I wanted to talk so bad, but my brain was just completely locked up. So don't force your child to do things that understand. Hey, if they could talk, they would talk. If they could walk, they would walk. If they could feed themselves, they would feed themselves. Just be accepting and accommodating, because eventually they will pull out of that regression, out of that involuntary regression. It might be an hour, it might be 5 hours, it might be the next morning after they've had a good sleep. Be there for them. Now, as far as voluntary regression, just accept it. As long as they're not straining you down with their voluntary regression, you might need to be like, look, I don't mind you regressing, but you're just going to have to not rely on me as much and let me rest, because I've had a long day at work. And maybe they just want you to hug them. If you're a parent, accept a hug from your child at any time. Maybe they just need that deep pressure. Anyways, I've rambled on long enough. You kind of guys get the gist. I'm going to do a lot of videos about age regression just because I've learned, honestly, a lot about my age regression in the past 2 to 3 weeks. And I want to share what I'm learning with you guys and help maybe other people out there that have regression learn about their regression, or help parents understand tips and tricks and help you understand regression. Anyways, thanks for watching. Leave comments if you have them. I'm really reenlivening this channel. I still haven't come up with a name for it yet. Just give me time. Work a full-time job. I'm dealing with a lot of stuff in the background. Anyways, y'all guys take it easy. Love y'all. Subscribe.